Hello guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Had a new video to get out. Just recently left our stay at Tall Pines, Chesapeake Bay, the KOA or Holiday KOA in Temperanceville, Virginia. It's a bayfront campground on Virginia's eastern shore, just minutes from Chesapeake Island. That island, we actually checked it out one evening. Pretty cool. It was late, a little bit before we grabbed a bite to eat over there, but it looked like there was quite a bit that would generally be going on maybe during the day, but kind of a neat little place. I recommend probably spending some more time there if you get a chance. Where we were in Temperanceville, cell phone coverage was very spotty. If you need to rely on that, I would recommend well, we have Verizon, and then as well as the truck, I believe data comes through AT&T signal. Both of them were pretty spotty, but we were able to use Starlink and get full signal with our site. We chose another non-wooded site for that specific purpose. And we chose, our site was actually right on the water. There's many other sites that are well further away. We just figured we're going to the bay, we want to stay close. Plus, based on the photographs and the aerials, we didn't believe there'd be much tree coverage, and there wasn't. So it worked out good. But when we arrived, it was kind of a stormy day, with what ended up being quite a bit of rain. And our site, it didn't flood, but it was getting wet. Actually, it was just a couple days prior to Hurricane Erin passing by when we arrived. So a little bit of wind and a little bit of rain, but anyway, there's a bay beach right there, right there by our site. Swimming, fishing, a lot of people were fishing, rain or shine, but the overall park has a lot of fun activity, a lot of things to do for the kids. There's a large bounce pillow you've probably seen if you've been to other KOAs. A lot of them do have something similar to this, not all. And bounce pillow my son loves. Then, of course, they have a pretty large playground. Doesn't look that it's very old either at this site. And when you walk there, the bounce pillow, the playground, and all this is kind of in the same area, as well as the new constructed pool area with laundry. There's a snack bar there that has certain hours. Actually, it's more than a snack bar. It's more of a restaurant, I would say. They have quite a bit of stuff on the menu, including snacks. And then they have the kids pool. It's a zero walk-in pool. Has a big splash pad attached. Pretty neat. I think the pool itself was about 3.5 foot deep, the kids pool, but plenty. I think kids of all ages were having a good time there, which was fun. And then there's a large shelter house right nearby. I'm not sure. I assume they have some type of events or maybe bands at different time. While we were there, there was nothing going on, but it's a pretty large shelter house. And if you don't have a camper, they've got some options, of course. They've got some tents, or I guess they're like a yurt or a hut right there near the playground itself for rent. And beside that, there was an older swimming pool. I think it was about 4 or 5 foot deep. I'm just guessing that was the original pool. It still functions and it was still being used. I'm betting it's been more dedicated as the adult playground. With that new kids splash pad and everything being built. And then right next to the older swimming pool, there's an arcade building. It's a small building, but they did have some fun games. My son loves pinball, and they had a couple pinball machines in there. There's also a quarter machine, change machine for your dollar bills. They take up to $20 bills for quarters, and there's nothing in the laundry room for quarters, so people were using the arcade to go get change to be able to do the laundry. It's something to keep in mind. But anyway, back to the rain in our low-sitting site. My smartwatch gives me the elevation. It said that I think we were 12 foot below sea level where we were. So the groundwater and the tide and everything was right there, so it could be affected. But with the rain, we had some standing water. But there also, at this KOA, seemed like a ton of permanent sites or seasonal sites, I would say. People set up. There's a large wooded area towards the top when you come in, and seemed like some pretty nice sites. Some of these setups were fairly permanent, put in there with sheds and different things, outdoor furniture and so forth, but they look really nice, and they got plenty of shade. Now they're not getting any Starlink coverage with the tree covered, but if they're not worried about that, if their cell service is good there outside of Verizon or AT&T, then they may not have a problem. And then at the beginning, when you check in, the same check-in spot is their camp store. It's all one included. It's very large, kind of a log cabin setup. And they had golf cart rentals. They had RV and fishing gear, of course, foods and snacks, and they sold beer there as well, ice, firewood, and all that. The camp stores themselves, I think they closed at 6 each day at this one. I think they're open 10 to 6. That sounds about right at the front there. And then right near our site, they also had a tide pool that was no fishing, no swimming, but it was just where the tide was affected. And they had these drainage canals dug throughout the campgrounds, especially in the lower levels, to help with the water. They seemed to have it figured out because there was water at different high tides at different times of the day. And most of that, none of that was necessarily backing up. It was more of the rain that we had standing in our lot. But the tide pool was fun to see, the tide changes. They had hammocks over the beach that everyone could use. And yeah, and the tide pool had a lot of crabs, so you can go check them out. A lot of crabs running around, especially at low tide, and or easy to see at low tide, I should say. And then Hurricane Erin came through, and while we were there, we were keeping an eye on it. We knew it wasn't going to hit shore. Had the prediction, expected winds and maybe a little bit of rain that day, but it was pretty windy. I think it was 25-mile-per-hour winds with gusts in the high 30s. Waves in the bay, whitecaps in the bay that was normally calm. But it was kind of fun, I guess, experiencing it, knowing there wasn't going to be storm damage. The wind did not affect Starlink at all, and so we had full service and were able to do whatever we wanted to do, even inside. And yeah, it was interesting. No one had camper damage as far as I could tell. You definitely want to put your awning in on something like that, that's for sure. And then one thing, we left to our next stop down the road. We actually stopped at a farmer's market, and stopped at I should back up. We stopped at a restaurant on the water. You know, being down here in this part of Virginia, it's not far wherever you're at to get to some type of waterfront property. But we found this little town and this nice little restaurant, and we're able to eat on the water, which is great. They had some jellyfish right off the docks. My son checked out, it was pretty cool. And then when we left there, we stopped at a farmer's market. Not a ton of grocery stores in this trip, so we checked out to get some produce at a local farmer's market. I'm glad we stopped. It was a pretty fun stop. It was called Quail Cove Farms, and I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce this name, in Machipongo, Virginia. Just off the state route there, and we pulled over, and they had a pretty good website, so that's part of the reason we went. But my wife and son went in, and then there's a gentleman who owns the place named Bill who came out, and he was super friendly. We were chatting about everything with campers and towing, and he's actually from Delaware, and his wife's from Ohio, and a great group of people. So if you're ever in that area, I recommend stopping by and saying hi. Real super guy. But I think just to kind of wrap that up, we had fun at the KOA. We've had mixed experiences with KOAs. This one was very relaxed, but very well taken care of. This probably was the nicest KOA we've been to yet. So hopefully they keep getting better. Yeah, thanks for listening to that. We have a couple other videos coming soon. Our next stop is going to be in Chesapeake State Park in Cape Charles, Virginia. And the video should be coming out here shortly. But fantastic state park. I think it's like $50 a night, and you're 5-10 minute walk to the beach. It's a public beach, but not very crowded, not very touristy in the bay here. And very nice sand and shallow water, safe beach. But look forward to that. We'll get that video out as soon as we can, and appreciate you staying in. Thanks.